us today is Jason Germiquet, the MD of Axies Ventures, and Charlie FitzRoy, the newly appointed director at the company. Well, thank you very much, both of you, for joining us today. Jason, first of all, how are you? Good to be speaking.
Yeah, good to be back, Mark. I think it's been about a year since I was on the show, and we've had some really exciting results.
Yeah, it has been a year, so I'm looking forward to catching up. And Charlie, of course, it's not the first time we've met. We've met in previous roles, but welcome back.
Thank you. Very good to see you again, Mark.
Yeah, no problem. Well, Jason, talk us through this. So it was almost a year ago. It was November of last year that we spoke. And I know you were slating the IPO, I think, for sort of Q2 or something of this year. Obviously, that hasn't happened yet. But I know you haven't been standing still. You've been busy on the ground. So just update us, if you can, on your shareholders on the last year.
Absolutely. So incredibly busy with our flagship project in Cyprus. We also have the Canadian portfolio that's had some really good results as well. I'll touch on that in a bit. But if we focus on the past 12 months in particular, IPOing has been part of our journey and our milestones, and definitely the direction we're moving. Mm-hmm. When we spoke last, we had just completed our drilling and we're awaiting the results. Those results were significant, a real move forward, not only for copper, but definitely for the Cypriot region and EU in particular. So we discussed this and we made the decision on the back of these results, moving forward with another drill campaign to strengthen our exploration model and really tap into this previously unknown zone, copper mineralized zone, would be the best move forward. And we've just completed another drilling program, or shall I say, earlier this year, but received all the results over the last few months, packaged that, and it was the right move, absolutely the right decision.
Okay, so that's good then. So, I mean, do you know where are you sort of now, if you like, on the development curve of the project? Because I guess the IPO is still on the cards. Where sort of are you in that stage, and what's left to do?
Absolutely. So we've got our preparation work under our belt. We've got 2 independent technical reports that are in final draft phase. We're updating that as we do more work. But the authors, the independent geologists, are ready to sign these off as we move closer to an IPO date. So we've done that preparation work. We're moving, as I mentioned, with the drilling, and the results that we've received. What it shows us is that with a larger drilling program where we can step out, we're moving towards declaring a resource, hopefully in 2026, timing that with an IPO and really moving up the value curve there.
Okay, that's good. That'd be good if you can come to the market with the MRE already under your belt. We'll come on to that again in a moment. But Charlie, can I just come to you and just find out a bit really about you joining the board here? I know you've had previous roles in public listed companies. What's led to you joining here? What will be your responsibility?
Yeah, well, I've joined Axies just earlier this year, so just in October this month. And I've always had an interest in copper and gold projects. When I was a mining analyst some years ago, I covered a lot of copper projects, and following that, I was in corporate development at China Moly, so CMOC, who have the largest cobalt and copper mine in the world in the DRC. But following that is when we met Mark, when I was at Brad Ahead in lithium. And then following Brad, I was involved in a battery-grade manganese project in Southern Africa, so Botswana and South Africa. So critical minerals has always been an area of focus for me. And having the opportunity to join Axies with what they have is fantastic. Jason and Mike very much, it's a good thing to do, but they very much undersold the project to me. I went out to visit it with Jason and Mike a few weeks ago in Cyprus, and seeing the projects and seeing the assets actually there, it really is, you can see the scale potential. With obviously the brownfield pit and the dump surrounding it, and then the cluster potential around the Coquino Antonis, you can see what is there. And with Cyprus and its cluster style formations along that zone, the last time I was in Cyprus from this angle, looking at the geology, was when I was at university. So 20 odd years ago. So it was nice to come back and see it from a commercial angle. And that's the real excitement with the portfolio the guys have got, and what Jason is saying about moving forward, getting more data, getting a resource in place, understanding more about the cluster potential, and that scalability from that is really exciting, moving towards an IPO. So really excited to join the team and hoping, obviously to add value and come along and help the team move things forward for moving towards that IPO.
Excellent. So do you have any specific objectives that you've either been tasked with or from you personally that you'd like to contribute to the company here prior to IPO and then post-IPO?
Well, Jason and I have been working very closely on the sort of strategy with the current presentation and how best to explain that in a way which comes across in the best light, because I'm a geologist, Jason is a geologist. Obviously, Jason is very much focused on the field geology, and very much, I'm more of an economic geologist. But it's helping with that angle and helping with the presentation and also communicating that message. And because quite often with exciting projects like this, it really is getting that out and why everyone should be excited about it. With Cyprus, as Jason said, the permitting regime is changing, and the EU push is really changing the landscape in Cyprus. From some historic stories you've had in the last 10 years where there's been a lot of interest and excitement, but with Jason, the team have done this from a ground up, from a very much getting involved with the stakeholders in Cyprus, and that's how the team have really pushed forward. So it's exciting to be involved in a project like this, where there's a real sort of stakeholder support in country and the assets in there too, which have got, Jason said, with Germiquet and Antonis, who've got a previously producing asset. So all these things are really pointing towards a very exciting prospect.
Good. Excellent. So what comes next then? So you've obviously advanced a lot further from a year ago with that extra drilling here. So more drilling required to get to the MRE, but you'd like the MRE before you IPO, which would be obviously very good. And of course, the environment's pretty strong at the moment for particular things like gold and copper, which is what you're into. But you also mentioned the government. So it's sounding like a year later, you are actually in a stronger position on multiple fronts. So what has to be done now to take you to that IPO?
Yeah, we're almost in a Goldilocks position here, because from the above ground position, the Cypriot government has come out and really said some positive, some really positive commentary about re-establishing their foothold as a copper producer in the EU.
Okay.
And like Charlie mentioned, the EU's push has just been consistent with the pickup of stockpiling requirements. The bill that is going through. So, and then the pricing. Obviously that's something we can't control these, but they've really worked into our favor from the ground up. We've continued to showcase the success of our methodology in Cyprus. We've taken a very systematic approach to this, really science-led, and the results are speaking for themselves. Charlie's brought a really good perspective. He's had some really successful positions in listed companies, and the value that he's already brought in just the 2 weeks he's been on board has been incredible. Just the conversations, the brainstorming, so opening up some new avenues and opportunities, the cluster potential that Charlie also mentioned, and perhaps underselling it previously is something we can work on. But the story is just incredible. So to just touch on the cluster potential, the results that we received from the Coconut and Antonis project, to put them in a greater context, or where this upside potential could be, is this is just one deposit. It's a historic deposit where we discovered an previously unknown copper mineralized zone, but it's along a 12-kilometer structural corridor. There's historic mining camps around here, but relatively unexplored. We have permits along and adjacent to this structural corridor, where we're picking up fantastic gold results. Recent gold results is 6.3 grams per ton at surface, and that gold result is indicative of hydrothermal activity and the potential copper systems below these. So these aren't sporadic points on a map where we happen to be picking up some good results. This is along the trend. We're building up the story, and with the successful drilling campaign, one of the intersections was 32 meters at 0.75% copper. Okay. These are really good grades in today's context. We had two higher grade zones within that, 0.9% copper over 13 meters, 0.8% copper over 11 meters. These are two distinct high grade zones within there. So these copper systems and these gold results are all working together as we build up this consistent messaging, and getting our messaging across is becoming vital to move this forward.
And the work going forward then, so you've got a sense of some of the grades there, which they're pretty decent, but you're doing step outs, so this is looking to get a bit more scale, is that right?
That's right. So we did our inaugural diamond drilling earlier this year, super successful, and some great results. The next step is to use diamond drilling as our primary drilling method. We've relied on the RAB drilling, which is really cost effective. We did some comparison between the RAB results and diamond drilling, and we're very happy with that comparison. The RAB came, when we consider, the previous drilling that we've done with RAB is showing very accurate results when compared to diamond drilling. But the next stage is about diamond drilling. Much more confidence in that, the QAQC potential, and then using that for a resource declaration along the line. This is exactly what we need to move forward with.
Good. Excellent. Okay, good. I mean, I don't know if you can answer this, but do you have a target for the MRE, or we won't have to wait and see?
Well, what I can say is that with the information we've got and the confidence that we've been building, we could well be on the verge of one of the largest copper deposits in Cyprus.
Okay.
What we're picking up is pointing towards a very significant discovery and declaration into 2026. So
good.
More than that, I know everyone likes the numbers, but as a geologist, there's probabilities to this. But I can say it's going to be incredibly significant if we can get this right.
Good.
So Mark, Jason, is it worth? Because with the Koki Antonis cluster, you've got obviously the bottom end of it. You've got your Char North project. And I think you were saying there was some really promising results coming back from that, which could say potentially it could be a mirror of the structure, the VMS structure, which obviously shows another cluster in that area too. Yeah,
exactly. So what Charlie's alluding to here is we're not just putting our eggs in one basket with Kokino and Antonis.
Okay.
This is part of the system. With the adjacent permits to Kokino and Antonis permit, and the gold results that we received last week of 6.3 grams per ton, that's about just below 5 kilometers away, but part of that same system. So if the clustering model is replicated where we are, and by that I mean in the rest of Cyprus, there's defined clusters of copper deposits that have been previously mined. We believe this is where we are is indicative of a relatively untapped cluster. Those results that we've got further to the southeast, are indicative that if there are multiple VMS systems, we could have a hub and spoke system of mining and processing where we're not tied down to the performance of a single asset, i.e. Kokino and Antonis, in terms of getting this up a value chain. But if there's multiple deposits, we can then build a mining area tapping into these multiple deposits.
Okay. Good stuff. And you're looking to raise some private equity at the moment, is that right?
That's right.
Okay, good.
I'll hand over to Ollie if you want to give some colour to it.
Yeah, so all the good work Jason's been talking about, which will increase the value of the project by putting a resource and testing further what Jason and the team have found of that the new mineralization below that. We're looking to raise in something in the range of £2 million now, which will enable us to push towards the IPO in the sort of Q3, Q4 of next year. And that value should really significantly enable us to push towards a solid IPO in that quarter.
Excellent. Good. Well, thank you very much, both of you, for your time today, giving us that update. So Jason Germiquet, the MD, and Charlie FitzRoy, the Director of Axies Ventures.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.